Everyone, my name is Mamta Bisht. I'm going to take this session on menstruation awareness on behalf of Spiral Foundation. In this session, we are going to cover brief introduction about systems in our body, which includes digestive system, respiratory system, reproductive system, and so on. Myths and facts related to menstruation. Also, we are going to discuss about menstrual cycle and tips to relieve yourself from the pain which we usually get during periods. Also, we will discuss do's and don'ts during menstruation. First, let's start with brief introduction about Spiral Foundation. Currently, we are working on menstruation hygiene and taking various awareness sessions in schools, colleges, medical camps, orphanages, slums, villages, and communities. We develop educational and sustainable program with focus on women empowerment, health, and education. Usually, girls in our society mostly hear negative and outdated informations, myths about menstruation from their families, friends, and relatives. They do not even know that menstruation is a biological and natural process. As a result, they also start believing myths and start practicing custom imposed upon them. And in worst scenario, they most likely will pass along the same information to their daughters. We are educating girls about menstruation, which helps increase their self esteem and burst myths and cultural superstitions. This helps girls to be prepared for their first period. Many girls typically miss 5 days of school each month due to lack of information about menstrual protection. For young girls aged between 8 to 16, we are also coming up with the comic book on menstruation. This book will provide A to Z information to young girls who are just keeping their steps in puberty or already reached to that age. This comic is an effort to explain our young girls in creative way about biology of their bodies, about periods like what periods are, why it happens, how it's completely natural. We have also taken many doctors' approval on the content and it's well researched, medically accurate and welded by the team of national and international doctors from US, UK and India. Let's start with our first slide. While conducting these awareness sessions, we have realized that most of these women know about sanitary napkins and its benefits. It's just that they cannot afford it. Hence, they are using unhygienic substances such as newspaper, leaves, unsterilized clothes, even sand and muds. Such unhygienic practice lead to itching, burning, vaginal infections, sometimes infertility and other reproductive health issues including cervical cervical cancer. So, we have decided to launch most affordable sanitary napkin called as STRI. It's made up of pure cotton antibacterial. In India, there are 88% of women who uses unhygienic material. Here are percentage of schoolgirls who drops out of schools once they start menstruating, which is 1 in 5 Indian girls. It's really huge number where country population is second highest all over the world. Here are the percentage of women in India suffer from reproductive tract infections, which I was talking about earlier. In this slide, we are showing facts of Indian society. In fact, these facts are very similar in other less economically developed countries. 90% Indian males are either not aware or known very little about menstruation cycle. 70% girls get shock of their life only after first period. Almost all female washes and dries their menstrual clothes in secret and store them in dark corners. Due to lack of proper sunlight, it leads to bacterial growth. Menstruation is a phenomenon unique to girls. However, it has always been surrounded by taboos and myths that exclude women from many aspects of social cultural life. The underlying basis of this myth is also the cultural belief of impurity associated with menstruation. It is further believed that menstruating women are unhygienic and unclean. A very popular one is not entering the place of worship. Girls are not allowed to take part in religious ceremonies. But the fact is, earlier people were not that aware of menstrual hygiene, and advanced products like pad, tampons, or cups were not available for protection. Anything for which people couldn't find solution, it was easier to give birth to a myth or misconception. Girls are not at all impure during periods. They are normal, natural, and healthy. It's inhumane and humiliating to treat girls differently because of the naturally occurring body cycle. Other kind of myths are menstruating girls is cursed or sick. But the fact is, in olden days, people were not aware of PMS, which is also called as premenstrual syndrome, and hormonal changes that happens during menstruation. Many any physical, emotional, or behavioral changes were interpreted as work of the devil or some evil spirits. Other kinds of myths were you were not you should not wash your hair or take bath when you are menstruating. But the fact is, in golden days, people used to take bath in lakes, rivers, ponds, etc. This might be the reason for this myth, as it's it might be embarrassing to have a period while taking a bath in an open. Other kind of menstruation myths are menstruating women should not enter kitchen or cook. They should not touch pickles or stored foods. By doing so, these food items can spoil and those who consumes it. But the fact is, as long as general hygiene measures are followed, entering kitchen, cooking, or touching any food items cannot harm anyone. Other myths are eating pickles or spicy sour foods worsen menstrual cramps. There is no connection between eating sour food and menstrual cramps. Spicy food causes heartburns or stomach upset for some people, but does not worsen menstrual cramps. Presence of the menstrual woman will spoil the fruits hanging on tree and they will drop prematurely. There is no logic or scientifically explanation for this. There are other kinds of myths like menstrual blood is different from regular blood. Just because this blood flows out from your vagina does not mean it is different. Menstrual blood is regular blood. The only difference you should notice is that the color, thickness may change depending on the day of your cycle as well as your hormone levels. What is menstrual cycle? To understand menstrual cycle, it's very important to know about all system of our body. This awareness session is the attempt to break cycle of myths and misconception related to menstruation. And while taking these sessions, we have to make sure that we are treating menstruation cycle as natural process as breathing is. From this side onwards, I'm going to talk about systems in our body. Let's start with digestive system, which is on your left side. Our body needs food as it provides us with energy, vitamins, and minerals. To get these nutritions, our digestive system breaks the food down into substances that the various organs and cells in our body can use. This is the job of our digestive system. First, we chew our food in our mouth. This chewed food enters the food pipe called as esophagus and reaches our stomach where it stays for around 4 hours and breaks down further to get the nutrition. Stomach also kills a lot of bad bacteria. Then food moves through small intestine. The first part of the small intestine works with juices from the liver and pancreas to continue to break down our food. The second part is where the food gets absorbed from the intestine and into our body through the blood. The last stage is the large intestine. Food that the body does not need or can't use it is sent to the large intestine and later leaves the body as waste. Please note that chewing food properly is the most important step towards healthy digestion. The chewing process mashes our food into small pieces and partially softens and liquefies it, making it easier to digest, and this allows our stomach and small intestine to work more efficiently and break down our food faster. Coming to the next system called as respiratory system, which is on your right side. We all need oxygen to live. The respiratory system's main function is to supply oxygen to all parts of our body. It does this through breathing in, which is called as inhaling, oxygen-rich air, and breathing out, exhaling, air filled with carbon dioxide. Besides breathing, our respiratory system also helps us with talking. We all need air to speak. Respiratory system forces air through our vocal cords and helps them to vibrate and create sounds like talking or shouting. Now, let's move to the next slide. The left side, you're seeing excretory system. Every day we have food and liquids. Our body uses most of these materials to grow and get energy, but it cannot use every bit of food and liquid we consume. Therefore, our bodies make waste every day. The excretory system helps in getting rid of waste, toxins, and extra water from our body. This system is very important for keeping the body clean and healthy. The waste and toxins must go out of our body. If the excretory system does not function properly, then we are sure to fall sick. Even our skin also removes waste through sweating. Coming to the right one, it's called as nervous system, the next important system. The nervous system is a complex network of nerves and cells that carry messages to and from the brain and spinal cord to various parts of the body. The nervous system controls all our five senses, that is, touch, smell, feel, hear, and taste. The brain is the largest organ of the nervous system. Nervous system helps you to feel and sense. Let's move to the next slide. Similarly, we have another important system called the reproductive system, which helps us give birth to a baby. In our reproductive system, we have two ovaries, two fallopian tubes, and a uterus. Unlike other systems, this system starts functioning only when we reach puberty age, more precisely between the age 8 to 16. The uterus is situated in our lower abdomen. Along with the uterus, there are other organs too that help in making baby. As I've said before, we have two ovaries and these ovaries store thousands of eggs. A newborn baby girl is born with egg cell in her ovaries. Later in the session, we will study more in detail about function of reproductive system during menstrual cycle. Before that, I'm going to walk you through how we grow, what changes happens in our body when we reach puberty. We all have a pea-shaped gland called pituitary gland at the base of our brain that is mainly responsible for our growth. During puberty, the pituitary gland releases growth hormones to different parts of the body and because of which we grow. This happens in both boys and girls. From this slide onwards, I'm going to explain about unique changes happens in girls and boys. Please note that these changes are very normal and happens to everyone. Let's start. During puberty, both boys and girls start gaining weight and height. Brain development is one of the most significant changes that happens during puberty. You may start sweating more. Other major changes happens are acne or pimples. Acne or pimples may develop on your face. This can happen to girls and boys both. Pimples cannot be avoided completely, but you can prevent breakouts by following some simple tips. First, wash your face twice a day with warm water and a mild soap meant to treat acne. Gently massage your face in circular motion. Do not scrub. Overwashing and scrubbing can irritate your skin further. Also, do not pop pimples. Popping pimples can push infected material further into the skin, thereby causing scars and redness. If acne is in your body, wear loose clothes. It allows the skin to breathe. Drink plenty of water. Avoid eating greasy and fast food. These are the simple tips for acne. During puberty, some unique changes occurs in both boys and girls as I said earlier. For boys, hair will start growing under their arms, which we also call as armpits, and in pubic area. Hair begins to grow on their face, chest, arms, legs, and in armpits. Their voice will change. Sometimes it cracks as it gets lower. This is because their voice box is growing. For girls, breast will start developing. Your body grows more curves and your hips and thighs get a bit wider. Coming to the next slide, from this slide onwards, I'm going to explain about the menstrual cycle. During puberty, your pituitary gland produces hormones which travels through your bloodstream to your ovaries, causing one of the eggs to mature and release. This process is called ovulation. Every month, egg matures and releases from one of the two ovaries. The fallopian tubes carries the released egg from one of the ovary to the uterus, commonly known as womb. It takes 5 to 6 days for that egg to reaches the uterus. Every egg has a potential to become a baby. So when an egg releases from ovary, your uterus starts preparing for a potential baby and creates a thick wall of blood and tissues also known as endometrium. Like the way girls have eggs, boys too have tiny sperms in their reproductive system. During the travel from fallopian tube, if female's egg meets a male's sperm, only then the egg gets fertilized and forms an embryo. Fertilized egg in over 9 months grows into a new baby. But if the egg and sperm don't combine, female's egg won't get fertilized and cannot transform into an embryo. And when no embryo attaches to the uterine lining for nourishment, this layer of soft tissue and blood is not needed anymore in the uterus. Uterus sheds this unwanted lining of tissues and blood along with unfertilized egg through the vagina. This flow of blood and tissues through the vagina is called period or menstruation. Please note that menstrual cycle repeats every month, which means each month pituitary gland sends hormone which in turn matures an egg, and this matured egg releases from ovary and travels through the fallopian tube. And again, uterus does a full preparation for a potential baby and creates thick wall of blood and tissues. But if that egg is not fertilized and does not transform into an embryo, then the uterus sheds the blood and tissue lining it has formed, and this is how we get our periods. It's completely normal to have pain in lower abdomen during periods. This pain is due to the uterus contracting to shed and squeeze the menstrual fluid out. Now it's time for the tips to relieve yourself from the pain during periods. Every day, go for a walk for at least 30 minutes. Whenever you're getting pain, apply a warm heating pad to the lower abdomen. Drink lots and lots of water, minimum 6 to 8 glasses. Get sufficient sleep, minimum 6 hours. Exercise daily. Try these yoga poses for sure. Uh, Child pose, butterfly pose, cobra pose, and hold for 5 deep breaths. Many research has found that these yoga poses will definitely help you to relieve pain during menstrual cycle. It's a go-go from my side too. Now let's talk about balanced diet. For proper growth, all of you should eat good food and follow a balanced diet. This will help you reach an ideal height and weight. A balanced diet is one that gives your body the right nutrition to function properly. To get proper nutrition from your diet, you must consume most of your daily calories in vegetables and fruits, carbohydrates, dairy and protein. Vegetables are primary source of essentials, vitamins and minerals. Fruits are a great source of nutrition and it's also a tasty snack option. Green vegetables like spinach, green beans, broccoli, and other green vegetables you can have. Root vegetables like carrots, beets, radish, etc. fruits like apple, pears, orange, grapes, etc. You can have it under vegetable and fruits. Carbohydrates are most common source of energy. To get this, you should try roti, bread, rice, pasta, oats, cereal and grains. Dairy products provide calcium and other essential nutrients. Milk, yogurt, cheese comes under dairy products. Protein is an important building block of bones, muscles, cartilage, skin and blood. Your body uses protein to build and repair tissues. Under protein, you can have meat, eggs, nuts, lentils, beans, peas, almonds, etc. Always, always try to avoid junk foods like potato chips, french fries, and crackers. It leads to various health issues. One of the most common side effects of having junk food is obesity. Junk food has lots of sugar, calories, and fat. Addition to junk food leads to weight gain. Most junk foods are high on sodium. Regular intake of junk food can significantly increase blood pressure levels of teenagers. Teenagers will gain about 20% of his height and about 50% of his weight during the teen years. However, if you are mostly consuming junk food, you can suffer from nutrition deficiencies which can hamper your growth. Other types of issues are dental issues, poor concentration level, and constant fatigue. This was a brief information about good balanced diet. Let's move to the next slide. Now we are going to discuss about common questions asked by girls during our various awareness sessions. Like, how long does a period last? How often period will come? What will happen if my periods are irregular? What is the right age to get periods? Answer to these questions are, it varies from one person to another. Periods starts anytime between age of 8 to 16. If you are more than 16 years old and your periods have not started, then visit doctor. Periods usually last for 3 to 5 days. It can be short and last for just 2 days or can be very long for 10 days. If period lasts for more than 10 days, then visit doctor. When a girl first starts her period, it may come every 45 to 60 days and not every month. This is normal. Sometimes it may be twice a month. It becomes regular usually after age of 20 years. Some girls may feel bloated and have mood swings before their periods. They may be irritated or emotional. It is normal to want to eat sweet foods before periods. There may be breast pain and pimples. Girls may have pain in the abdomen, pelvis, legs, and back. Excess weight loss or weight gain can also affect the periods. If periods do not start by age 16 to 17 years, or if there is a change in the pattern, too heavy or too light, or lasting too many days, or causing too much pain, the doctor will perform blood tests to figure out. The menstrual cycle is due to change in a woman's body to prepare for possible pregnancy. If periods stop, it could be due to pregnancy. See a doctor immediately. Some women may have uncomfortable feelings starting a week or two before their periods that usually stops when their periods starts. It's called premenstrual syndrome (PMS). The most common emotional premenstrual syndrome symptoms are irritability, anger, oversensitivity, feeling nervous, anxious, and depressed. Depression is where people get sad, have sad thoughts, and in serious situations, thoughts of harming themselves. These emotional disturbances are thoughts to be connected to the rise and fall of hormones, especially estrogen, throughout the menstrual cycle. Exercising daily for at least 30 minutes is very helpful. Other mind and body soothing activities like yoga, gardening, meditation is also good. Small frequent meals, calcium supplements, avoiding caffeine, alcohol and sweets also help ease PMS symptoms. Menstruation is a part of a woman's reproductive life and women should not be ashamed of that. Other type of questions are, will we get periods throughout our lives? The answer is no. Periods typically stops in midlife, somewhere between the age of late 40s and early 50s. This is called menopause. Now, we will talk about menstrual hygiene. Why is this important? Because globally, menstruation is extremely challenging for women in lower income settings. The taboo and stigma that surrounds menstruation has severe negative to even deadly consequences for women and girls in some cultures. If proper menstruation hygienes are not followed, then women can suffer from below infections, redness and swelling in vaginal area, itching, burning, problem in sitting, discharge with foul smell, pain in pelvic area even after period ended. Long-term infection leads to further complication and bigger diseases like UTI, urinary tract infection, cervical cancer, infertility, and even death during childbirth. Visit a doctor if infection is not going away even after taking all cleanliness measures. Here are the basic cleanliness measures which are recommended by doctors. Take a shower at least once a day. Use clean undergarments and change them regularly. Change your pads at least 6 hours. Wash your genital areas with plain water after using toilet. Keep the area between the legs dry. Do not use any cleaning agent like soap or deodorant inside the vagina. Wash your hands before and after using the sanitary pad. You should wash your hands clean with the soap and water. You should change pad at least every 6 hours or more often if needed to prevent the pad from getting over-soaked and leaked. If you're using a reusable cloth, then after soaking, wash the pad and dry it in the sun. Sun rays are effective in killing germs. In this slide, we're going to discuss about how to dispose a used sanitary pad. This is very important to dispose a sanitary pad properly. First, wrap the used sanitary pad in a newspaper or a waste paper. Put it in the garbage bin and make sure you're covering the bin with the lid, and don't forget to wash your hands. Please do not, never flush down the pads in the toilet. This will block the toilet. Coming to the next topic, why sanitary napkins? Clothes has many disadvantages. Clothes need proper supply of water to wash them. Places where scarcity of water is there, it's difficult to properly clean them. People are too ashamed to show sunlight to use clothes in public, so mostly such clothes get dry in dark corner, inside bed, bathrooms, sides of some trucks, etc. Sunlight kills germs and bacteria which soap alone cannot do. Going to school or work is difficult. Greater chances of mishap, not comfortable walking, sitting, or doing any other physical activities. Foul smell comes fast with clothes. Clothes who are strongly dyed causes infections as dyes have chemicals. Clothes of other fabrics other than cotton can also lead to infections. Our main goal is to spread awareness about menstruation, that it's not a curse, not a shame, not impure, not a disease, not a sin, not a secret. It's a power to create, nurture, and transform. It's life-giving and it's not disgusting. Did you know that same mother's menstrual blood kept you alive for 9 months in the womb? Hence, it's life-giving and not disgusting. Menstrual blood is second highest in stem cells after umbilical cord blood. Now scientists have found a way to collect stem cells from menstrual blood. These stem cells in future will be used to treat various diseases as mentioned below. It's a misconception that periods make girls and women weak. In fact, they can do all the activities if they take good care of themselves and follow good menstrual hygiene. Women have competed in the Olympic Games, won gold medals, and made new world records during their periods. Every day can be a good day if girls can attend schools during their periods. Thank you for attending Menstruation Awareness session by Sparrow Foundation.